Are you succumbing to the pressure of people like Tipper Gore who are yelling and screaming about your lyrics?
The PMRC, which sounds like a problem women have monthly, is I want everybody to fall off the seats laughing now.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Crash Course Metal Show. Today, we're going to be doing an album review, and that review is going to be from the band W.A.S.P. and their third studio album here, Inside the Electric Circus. So, Inside the Electric Circus is W.A.S.P.'s third album in 1986 that came out. So, as you can see, this is not the original. This is the reissue, remastered version from 1997, I believe. And it does have the Headless Children, which is the album after Inside the Electric Circus, but it was released on Capitol Records. It did not certify, as far as I could tell, that I ever seen. But it did actually do okay in the charts, depending on what you want to consider okay. It did hit number 60 in the top 200 Billboard charts, and it stayed there for like I think 4 months, four plus months, if I remember reading that correctly. But overall, though, I guess really didn't have much staying power because honestly, all I seen, I think, for this album, as far as singles go, was 9-5 Nasty, which is an amazing song. But I don't think they really had a music video to it. The only video I remember seeing from 9-5 Nasty, anyway, was like this. It was like a TV, you know, like how the MTVs used to have like some kind of game show and like all these different shows, but there was one where it was like on a black and white checkered floor and they would have bands come on and play like one or two songs and stuff. Like Britney Fox was on there, Femme Fatale was on there and such. It's something like that, but it was overseas, I think, for Wasp doing 9-5 Nasty. And I actually remember like because I picked up this album Inside the Electric Circuit. This might actually be my first Wasp album, I think. It's either that or the debut behind me, but I picked it up on CD, not vinyl. And actually, let me pull out here. Yeah, the actual cassette I bought of Inside the Electric Circus when I was like 13, 14 years old, maybe even younger than that, 12 maybe. But yeah, it certainly had some plays, and but I will say it wasn't my favorite. I have grown to like it more over time because like when I was younger, I always gravitated towards the debut and the Last Command. So this one always kind of stayed back a little bit. Now there was, like I said, 9-5 Nasty was always like one of my favorite songs, especially of this era anyway. But as far as the whole album, I've grown to love more and more over the years. So, but that leads me to the point of I love Chris Holmes's guitar work on some of these, like some of these solos, because on that 9-5 Nasty video, I guess, that I remember seeing. And I'll put the clips to it here in the video if I can find it still. But Chris Holmes is wearing like this red leopard like outfit. It's like crazy, and I can see it today. And like I thought that was badass when I was like 13 years old. I was like, Chris Holmes was like my favorite guitar player for about 2 weeks, and that video and song is why, because like that guitar solo is just awesome, and his like red guitar just matches like kind of his outfit, and it was actually kind of really cool. So, and speaking of guitar, we have Blackie joining the ranks here as far as dropping the bass duties and going to guitarist. And then so you have coming in here on bass Johnny Rod. He is on the next album as well, and you obviously have Steve Riley from L.A. Guns fame. So yeah, pretty much I would say Ash like straight after this album, he just gets up and joins L.A. Guns, or it's like probably there might even be a little bit of overlap and stuff. But as Blackie has said about this album before, this album sounds like a tired band, and I can agree with that because, like I said, when I was younger, I tend to visit the first two albums more in comparison to this. Like, I think there are two covers on here. I don't need no doctor and Easy Living. Easy Living from Uriah Heep, and then I don't need no doctor from Ray Charles. So, but I do actually really like I don't need no doctor. That's a really good cover, and Blackie and Wasp make it their own. But on the other hand, Easy Living, it's fine, but sometimes I wonder if that should even make the iPod. I'm like, maybe I should just delete this off here. But I think as far as like the deep cuts, there are good deep tracks on here. But when you compare it to, say, Last Command or the debut, I think the deep cuts on those two albums are certainly stronger. But that's not taking anything away from these deep cuts because, you have the title track, really good. You have I Don't Need No Doctor, really good. 9-5 Nasty was a single, so that's not going to be the deep cut. But Shoot from the Hip is cool, but very sexual. Sweet Cheetah's okay. Manatronic is cool, has like a nice little chug to it. King of Sodom and Gomorrah, kind of catchy on the chorus. But The Rock Rolls On is probably my favorite deep cut off of here. Maybe one of my favorite songs off of this album. Really good. But then on this reissue here from 1997, you do have Flesh and Fire, which is a decent song. And then you also have track number 14, Douchebag Blues, which I absolutely love. It should have been on the album. It's just a real acousticy blues from Blackie and I'm guessing Chris Holmes doing the acoustic duties. Maybe Blackie's doing it. I'm not sure 100%, but really good song though. Either way, tongue in cheek shit, just funny shit. But when you're looking at this here, because on the original you have 12 tracks, and you could have at least cut one of these, and in my opinion, Easy Living cover tracks. You could have cut one of them out of here, like, and that kind of goes to Blackie's point. Like, it was a tired band. The label wanted them to pump something else out here, and you know, take one of these covers off. And I don't like any band really putting any cover on their album, let alone two. And I'm just like, okay, one has to go here. And in my opinion, Easy Living is the on the chopping block. But like even like Sweet Cheetah kind of puts you to sleep a little bit. Even like Restless Gypsy's fine, but And then obviously the very first track is the Big Welcome, and so I guess you have technically 11 full tracks, and then -2 for the cover, so you got 9 full tracks. Even 9 tracks, even if you cut out all the not original stuff and full songs, you still have 9 tracks, which is decent because the previous two albums only had what 10, if that. So I don't know why they really went overboard because you're in here at about 48 minutes, just about a tick under 48 minutes. So I don't know. I don't know. It seems a little strange to me. But as far as like the Big Welcome, the intro is actually really really cool. They do like a circus style intro, like with the bells and stuff like that. But then there's like a really cool riff from either Blackie or Chris Holmes, and like I keep like the last 30 seconds of that intro just based on that riff alone to jump you inside the Electric Circus. Like it's an absolutely great buildup of an intro. So big big plus for that for me. And then, we have talked about Martin Popoff here in the past, and we talked to Martin Popoff in the past, but about AC/DC, not about this album. But I did see a review he did on it, and he was kind of like saying this album is a little slightly more simplified and hard rock based than the previous two albums, which I get that, because like there's really no atmospheric song like say Sleeping in the Fire or Widowmaker or some along those lines on the first two albums and even on the albums after as well that come right after this. So like this is more of the glam feel, hair metal feel, more trying to be more melodic, more mainstream, if you will, for Wasp. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Like a lot of people do kind of talk shit on this album, but I dig it, especially as I'm getting older. I'm appreciating it more. But there are some weaker spots. There's no doubt about that. Jump in here, guys. If you guys enjoy this content that we're doing here, please like the video, please share it, and then please subscribe. That helps the channel out so much. Just helps everything that we're doing here. And also leave me a comment as well. Always interested to see what you guys had to say. Now let's jump right back into this video. I kind of put this album in the same camp as Eldorado, because I actually really like that album as well, but a lot of people don't like that either. So I don't know. I find myself more comparing Inside the Electric Circus and Hell Dorado compared to say The Last Command and Hell Dorado. So because some people put those two comparisons together. But I don't know. I just think there is plenty to be had here for people. And then I also seen to Metal Hammer the magazine put this album cover as like one of the top 50 worst album covers of the 80s. And I can kind of get that. But I think it's some of the charm to it. Because you have Blackie in like this tiger, Tony the Tiger outfit, basically, and he's like inside the cage here, and I don't know. I always liked it. I mean, now granted, I was 12 or 13 when I first seen this, and I was like, oh shit, this actually looks pretty badass. But I mean, if I looked at it now at what 33, like would I think the same? I don't know. I mean, I still like these 80s album covers, so I probably would like if I just seen it for the first time right now. And Blackie obviously going solo here on the front cover as he likes to do. So yeah, I don't know. I always dug this album, but as time is going on, I'm appreciating more and more of it. Not saying it doesn't have its weaknesses either. And also too, there's not really any ballad on here either. Because you do have like some slower to mid-tempo stuff on the first two albums, and there's nothing really here either as far as that goes, which is actually kind of strange, to me. And like I said earlier, there's nothing really atmospheric as much either. So maybe that's what this album is kind of missing for me, or for most people, because obviously when you get to the next album, that Headless Children, you got the really good ballad of Forever Free. And Blackie does really well with ballads. I think he has one of the best ballad catalogs from an 80s band. No doubt, especially throughout his whole catalog, not just 80s, but throughout the whole catalog of Wasp. I can always turn to Blackie Lawless for a really, really good for many good ballads, but at least for one good ballad, however I'm feeling. So, and that's just Blackie's like vocals and just his writing style is just really, really good.
Hey, it's Robert Mason from the band Warrant in the C2 cockpit, and you are watching the Crash Course Metal Show.
So basically, I'm going to be giving Inside the Electric Circus a 3.5 out of 5 because now if you would have asked me like 15 plus years ago when I was younger, I probably would have said maybe 2.5, 3. But man, I think like 9-5 Nasty is super strong. One of my favorite 80s era Wasp songs. I just absolutely love that solo. And I just like everything about that song. But I come to find over the years, The Rock Rolls On is another one of my favorite tracks from Wasp. It's like a great motorcycle ride playlist song just to throw on the playlist. Really good in that front. Even like the I Don't Need a Doctor. Like I'm not the biggest fan of covers, but it is a good cover. Really good. Blackie brings his energy to it. But at the same time, if like a cover song is in my top 3, then that's generally not a good sign for the rest of the album, except when we're talking Little Caesar with I Wish It Would Rain, because that's one of the best covers of all time in any genre of music. So yeah, there's that. But there's good stuff on here though too. I mean, I understand why people don't like it, especially if you don't like the hair metal style of things. But I don't know. It's still Wasp. It's still Blackie. It's still Chris Holmes. I don't get now. Over recently, I do see people kind of like warming up to this album and appreciating it more as well. So there's that. But I don't know. I just think a 3.5 is fine for me. I think that's fair. Could possibly get worse though too, but generally I would say the last 15 years it has grown. So we're going with a 3.5 here. So guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think of Inside the Electric Circus and what it means to you, because a lot of people, it's usually love or hate with this album as well when it comes to Wasp fans too, and just heavy metal fans in general. And guys, stay out of that collateral damage. And if you guys enjoyed this album review, check out all of the album reviews right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.